So today we're going over some ways that you can maximize your earning potentials in your 20s. A lot of us are either landing or landed a high-paying full-time, or we might be working multiple jobs to save up and earn as much income as possible. The thing between earning your income and actually having the remaining balance over time comes down to how much you are spending. A lot of us have never had to do budgets, or we didn't track our spending habits, but now it's time for you to get into that process, to get into that practice. You could be making 100K a year. Some of us are lucky enough to get that in our 20s. That could be our first full-time offer. But if you're paying money for rent, then you're paying money for expenses, bills. You could see the money currently in your bank account going lower and lower and lower. And it's better that you pick up on this now, right, rather than waiting till you're like 25, 26 to start caring about your savings and preparing for your future. The first thing that I'm doing to limit my spending habits in my 20s is cutting out entertainment. There are a lot of different entertainment options that we have on our phone. We have different subscriptions. We're watching this, we're listening to that, and that all adds up. You could be paying $15 a month for one, $16 for the other, $7, $8, however much you're paying. Combined on a monthly basis, that's a lot of income that's just immediately going out the window. And it's oftentimes that we might have signed up for this app, or we might have signed up for this subscription, used it one time, and then simply just forgot about it. That's like the worst feeling, when you're paying for something you don't even need. It's like paying for something you don't even use. I'd recommend you going through all your subscriptions. You could check your email or your transaction history on your credit card and look to see which subscriptions you actually need and that you actually use. You will be surprised to see how much you're paying for apps and platforms that you don't even like. So I would recommend you doing this soon and then getting rid of all the unnecessary apps. And the apps that you think you do need, the platforms that you think you do need, you simply can't live without, try to cut down on the purchasing plan. There are definitely cheaper alternatives to what you are paying for. There are certain versions of this platform that require you to listen to advertisements. You might not get unlimited skips, you might not get all these fancy features, but you are saving a lot of money long term, and it's something you should definitely look at. It's not the end of the world if you hear an advertisement in between songs and you have an advertisement during your favorite movie or your favorite TV series. It's something you're just going to have to accept and not worry about too much, and realize that $12 a month, maybe over a course of a year or two, will add up, and you can go and use that money to buy whatever you'd like or invest it however you choose. The next area that I want you guys to really cut down on is somewhat similar to entertainment, but it's the going out aspect, the food, especially the food and the beverages. How much are you spending a week on coffees, on energy drinks, on fast food? It blows my mind how lazy a lot of us are. I know you're probably working 8 hours minimum a day, but there's still time for you to cook your own food, meal prep, buy in bulk. You don't necessarily need to have the most fancy and the most variety of a diet. I think it's okay to have a very minimalistic diet. Obviously, you need to hit your food goals, your macronutrition. So I wouldn't recommend you just eating one food item, like one meal a day. I don't think you need to do that. But you can have your 3 meals a day and just cook them and prepare them before you go. It's so much cheaper. It's insane how much a lot of us are spending on one meal a day out. It could be $15 for lunch. If you get guacamole, if you get certain premium add-ons, it just adds on to the price, and it's not going to allow you to get that financial freedom that you want. I would recommend you eat out only when you absolutely need to. If you have a certain protein goal you need to hit, and maybe it's later in the day, your meetings with your clients went over, or you're stuck at work, whatever your situation is, okay, occasionally you can go out and eat. But even then, don't try to buy the most expensive option. Have something that you know will cover your basic necessities. I've cut out fast food 90% of my diet. I eat a lot of whole foods, and that's the goal for you guys to follow. Have high quality foods that give you the proper nutrition that you actually need. And when you're shopping at discounted retailers, you will find out that these foods aren't actually that expensive. So it's much easier for you to buy that grass-fed beef, for you to buy those organic fruits, and then cut them up and cook them and prepare them yourself. The preparation is the most expensive part. That's why it's so expensive going out to eat. The food itself isn't that expensive. It's just actually having to cook it and taking the time to do so. If you're working 9 to 5s, you can always dedicate a weekend to just meal prepping, or just one weekend day. Maybe dedicate your Sunday morning to just cooking for the week, and then packing it in a way that allows you to just grab and go. That's another huge thing. You have to not only cook the food, but prepare it in certain Tupperwares and containers that you can simply just grab, throw into your bag when you're rushing in the morning, so you aren't tempted to want to skip out and spend money elsewhere. The last thing that you want to focus on cutting down on is the going out with your friends. It's very easy to fall into if you move to a new city off of work, or if you move to a new city because you got a new offer, you got a new full-time job. There are going to be so many different things for you to try, different things to see, different people to interact with, and oftentimes you might be meeting up with 3 or 4 people a week, going out 3 or 4 times a week after work, or even on the weekends you're always going out. And just doing different activities, it gets very, very pricey very fast. And typically when you're with more people, if you're in like a group setting, you're more willing to spend more money and not think twice about it. You're in the ideology of, oh, I want to make memories, I don't want to regret this in the future. And don't get me wrong, it's very important to have time with your friends and spend time with your loved ones. It's great to try new things, but right now you have to prioritize whether you want to save money for the future, or if this memory is worth making every week, every day, however often you're going out. Cut it down to once or twice every week. I think that's the best way to do it. If you have a significant partner, obviously that's different, but if you're just trying to make friends, if you're just trying to network, it's very, very expensive if you're going out constantly. Try to find places or activities that don't require an admission fee. It doesn't require you to purchase food or beverages upon entry. There's a lot of simple things, simple activities that you can do, and you can still meet people at these places. You just have to be creative depending on wherever you're geographically located. Try to find parks or areas where there's going to be a lot of people, and that's a great way to interact and get that social energy that you need. By implementing these things, I promise you, you will have a much better time saving money. You won't have to worry about not being able to afford those big purchases you want to make in life, because you're having these strict spending habits now that will only get more strict as you go throughout your 20s, because you're starting off strict now, but there are going to be moments where you're like, maybe I should go and buy that burrito bowl, or maybe I should go and buy that coffee and go hang out with my friends. And it's okay, it's human. It's not about being perfect, but it's about trying to put yourself in the best possible position for success, and that's ultimately what you're doing by saving in your 20s.